Um, hey guys, so today I'm gonna tell you how I got saved and how I came to Christ. It's a pretty long story, I guess, but um, so I wasn't born in the United States. I was born in Guatemala in a small village, and when I was born, my parents couldn't afford a uh, a crib for me, and they had to make one out of out of a box, and they put hay and they put a little rag or blanket on it so I could sleep in it. But and then they figured out that they couldn't afford uh, to to have a family because of everything. So my dad came to the United States and left us there. When I turned 5, me and my mom crossed the desert to come to the United States to where my mom was, and it was a trying journey because I saw things I shouldn't have seen, and I'll be honest with you, it was very trying as a little kid, as a 5-year old. My mom telling me that there's a God and not believing her because why would a God put someone through that trial? And after I met my dad, um, a lot of things happened. Um, Growing up, I didn't really have the funnest childhood. I was raised very strictly and very, be honest with you, went through mental abuse, physical abuse, and um, just couldn't really, understand why things were happening. And and as growing up, I saw things as in my parents or my parents took us to church, but it was a Catholic church, and I never really understood why, because each time we went to church and on a Sunday, before we went inside the church, um, they were talking about, oh, we got to be holy and all this, and after church we go right back to cussing and seeing my family members my family members drink and just do stuff that what is it, even though we just heard about what is it in church that we shouldn't do, and they're already doing it, and just not understanding that. And I was told that I couldn't pray to Jesus because I have to pray to the mother of Jesus, and pray to the saints, but I couldn't pray to Jesus, and that was something that as a kid I never really understood. And as time went on, I believe at the age of around 8, my grandma died in front of me, and she was actually the only person in my whole entire family that actually spent time with me. No one else really spent time with me, and she was very close to me. Even though she wasn't the best grandma, but she was a grandma. Um, but she died in front of me from overdosing. So it was a very uh, just a very traumatic thing that I went through, and it seared in my brain. And then a year after that, I believe my aunt died in front of me as well. And then so right after that, I was dealing with depression, anxiety, a lot of lies, just lies that I didn't really know what was going on, and no one really asked me if I was okay as a little kid. I went to counseling, but the counselor didn't really do much. They just stared at me and just said it was gonna be okay, but it never really felt real. And then after that, no one really said anything about Jesus. No one mentioned Jesus, even though apparently we were Catholic and we were serious Catholics, but never really saw that. And after that, a few years later, I was in what is it in fourth grade, and I started to develop a disease which was like it was called severe acne disease, and it was very severe because the acne that I had would grow to a size of a dime, and then move slowly overnight to another one, and they'll build up and then they'll burst, and it would hurt so much, and it was all over my face, nowhere else, and it was There was a lot of pain. One, it was because it was not really who I was. I tried to cover it up. I went to every single doctor. My parents took me, and um, they told my parents that I was healthy, that they don't know why it was happening, everything. And I can understand. And as a kid, it was a very trying time because I was getting bullied, especially by adults, not the kids themselves, even though kids are mean, but with adults. I kept hearing adults telling their kids to not get close to me and stay away from me, and even teachers telling other students to stay away from me because they don't know if it was a disease that was contagious. And it just, and that's something you don't say to a kid that's very close where they can hear it, and it just hurt. And I just pray to God, even though my parents never did. um, I just remember my grandma, my mom's side of the family, they're Christian, and I remember talking to her on the phone, and her telling me that I can pray to Jesus, that it's okay, that I don't need to go to all these hoops just to talk to him. And I did, but it just felt very relieving, and just something about his name, but never really, never really caught on to me. And then as time went on, I just you know um, sucked it up, just like how every guy's supposed to do it. Like, you suck it up, don't worry, just keep on going, don't feel the pain, just go. Guys aren't supposed to feel, they're not supposed to show emotions. And each time I would talk to my parents, they would just get mad. They would just tell me, suck it up, you're a man. But I didn't want to suck it up, but I did. And then a situation happened where I hit my face, and one of the acne actually grew where a vein was, and it ruptured the vein and it wouldn't stop bleeding. So I had to go to the hospital. 3 days later, I met a doctor, and they said they can treat me, but my parents told the doctor that we can afford it, and the doctor said no, just I want to treat him. Don't worry about anything financially. I'll do it. And the doctor took me under her, and she just treated me for about 2 years, and she paid for every single appointments, treatments, even the medicine, and they were very expensive medicines, and just completely blew my mind that someone out of nowhere would just treat someone. And that never really, what is it? I didn't really understand why someone would do that. But after the treatments, um, my my face started clearing up, and then she said, "Okay, it's time to. So you're done with the treatment." And my face was clear. I still have some scars on my face, but people can't really see it. But not many people know about it. But it's a reminder for me that you know that even in the past Jesus was there. Even at the time I didn't really know. And then as time went on, I got involved with drugs. I smoked, drank, and just I tried to fit in, which is something that no one told me was a bad thing. In middle school, I got a reputation for apparently being the bad kid, and I never got bullied in middle school. Um, just because I was hanging out with people who were the one that was bullying, and you know, and just one thing I developed was insecurities, a lot of insecurities in middle school, and just trying to fit in, and I lied, trying to get people to accept me, and I just the lies what kept going to where I couldn't stop them, so I just became this other person that I hated being, because the real me, who I was, I always wanted to be that person, but there was no escaping. And it just went on, and then when I went to high school, it just got worse, because in high school apparently you're supposed to lose your virginity. You're supposed to do all these stuff by the age of this and that, and I lied about a lot of stuff. I didn't lie about the smoking though. And about I did drugs, I did all that, and it just wasn't fulfilling. I went to parties, and at the moment it was okay, It was, it was fulfilling, but as time went on, it just wasn't satisfying anymore. And talking to girls, doing all this, it just never really satisfied. And I believe what is it around junior year, the end of junior year, a situation happened with my family, and my mom started looking for a church, which was very not like her. And I remember she was talking about trying to find a church, but I told her to just ignore it and just life is life. And but she kept continuing, and she found Reveal Fellowship, and she went, and she came back so excited, like I've never seen my mom before. And and then uh, she kept she asked me, she said, do you want to go? I told her no, because I don't believe in God. Because if God was real, why did I go through this? Why did I see this? If God was real, why did I grow up with parents like you? Like, and it was just a lot of hurt. And my mom kept bugging me again and again. She kept nagging. She was very relentless. And I kept cussing her out. I kept cussing her. I cussed at her and just yelled at her to leave me alone, but she never did. But and at that time, my relationship with my dad was very bad. Um, Me and him argued every single day. Like, it would not stop. Like, I didn't even want to come home. I felt safe at school, because it was just it was very hostile. Every time I walked in, it was just like another argument, another discussion. I just wanted to run away. I just wanted to flee, but I couldn't. And I was trapped in lies. I was trapped in anxiety, depression, suicide, and pornography. And just because I couldn't, and and just drinking, smoking. And no one asked me if I was okay. And and then my mom kept bugging me again and again, so I finally gave in. I told her if I went with her, well, she shut up. But in a different way. So she said she would, and I went, and there was a shock, because the moment I walked to the church, it was completely different. Like, the atmosphere, the something about the church was different. And I walked in, and I did see some difference. Like, I saw people jumping up and down. I saw people walking without shoes. I saw people just crying. I saw people praying. Like, it was completely like different. It was walking inside a different world. Because in Catholic, it's just you go in, there's a routine. You stand up, you do what you're told, and you're just a robot. You don't really do anything like that. And it made me uncomfortable, because the moment I walked into that church, like the moment I walked in through those doors, it felt like my mask was removed and I was naked. And I was very quiet, because I didn't want anyone to talk to me, because it was just like, why do I feel naked? Why do I feel exposed? Like, even though I'm supposed to be this hard, tough guy, but yet right now I'm just so lost. And it shook me. And after that, my mom never really asked me to go to church. And then the next following week, I asked her if I could go, and she was surprised. And one, I wanted to go is because I wanted to know why I felt like that. Why was I feeling uncomfortable? Why was I feeling like that? Normally, when you feel like that, you don't want to go anywhere near a place like that. But it was different. And I went. It was just, I didn't really feel anything, and it was like maybe it was just me. And then the third time I went, which was on a Sunday, I remember it because it was a life changing moment. And on a Sunday, I went, and I walked in the church, and I met a lady, and she said, "Do you want to meet one of the youth leaders?" And at that time, one of the youth leaders was Marquise, and she introduced me to him, and he did something that shook me. He didn't say hi. He didn't shake my hand. He came running, and while he was running to me, he said, "Hey, baby." That shook me, because growing up, I never had anyone talk to me like that. Like, to me, that was a disrespect, because how I grew up and where I grew up in the hood, and I was okay with hugging girls and you know, girls talk to me like that, but not guys, especially with dealing with guys, with my dad, with every guy around me. It was always hostility. It was always you don't talk to me like that. So, but um, he talked to me like that, and I'll be honest, it ate at me, and I was and and normally what is it when someone says that I'd swing, and at that moment when he said hey baby, I was about to swing at him in church. I didn't really care if we were in church. I was about to deck him. Um, but I heard a voice in my head, clear as day. I never heard a voice telling me just let it happen. And it felt like something was tying me down because it just, all this, something was preventing me from lifting my hands and swinging. And when he hugged me, it felt warm. It felt different. And he asked me two questions that no one's ever asked me before. And it just shook me. He said, how was your day and how was your week? I asked him why he cared. He said, God cares about your week and your day, and he's there and he loves you. So if God loves you, I love you. And I just bursted out crying because no one's ever asked me that. No one's looked at me that way. No one's ever said, um, how are you doing? After my mom died, or my grandma, how how do you feel? Are you okay? Nothing. When my aunt died, nothing. Or when I'm going through depression or social anxiety or or lies, suicide. No one cared to ask. No one asked. No one asked me nothing. But yet, God was asking me that, and at that moment, I realized that through the desert, through the trials, through the pain, through the acne, through all the other stuff, God was there. He was there walking with me. He was there holding my hand. He was there telling me, how was your day? Even though he knew that that day was horrible, but yet he was still there. And that just shook me. And then a week later, I gave my life to Christ. And ever since then, it's been 7 years since I've been saved. It's been a while, and it's been a beautiful ride. I'll be honest with you, it hasn't been an easy ride, ups and downs, and just trials after trials, and but it's a trial that's worth it because now I can freely say that I'm free, I'm blessed, I'm happy, I'm not depressed, I don't have social anxiety, I'm not dealing with suicide, I'm not dealing with pornography anymore. I'm free from pornography. I'm free from lust. I'm free from the cares of this world, and I can be who I know I wanted to be, who I was called to be, and it's so freeing. So just knowing him just literally just gives me the freedom of being who I am in him. Because if it wasn't for God and all the junk that I went through and the stupid things that I would always do, I don't know if I would be here today. So that's my testimony, and I pray that God will help you too.